So your last quarter, you're hoping that's the start of things to come?
Look, that was a good last quarter. Yeah, I thought the players elevated their performance. So we haven't seen that as consistently as we did last year, but it's around 10 coming up. So, and I don't like to use the word building because sometimes you never get there. So we're just looking to get a bit more consistent. But I thought on the weekend, as much as I think we elevated our performance in the last quarter, I thought the game was a pretty good standard, and we confronted a pretty red hot team, throwing the kitchen sink at us. So, yeah, I think our performances in the last 3 or 4 weeks have been positive.
Have you had the ability to have consistency with selection and playing blokes in the same position?
No.
Last year? Has that been one of the reasons why the inconsistencies happen?
I don't know. We find that's happening a little bit too. There's a bit more strategy going on. We like to stick to our system and the way we play and the roles we want our players to execute. But we did have a lot of injuries last year as well. So this year we found with key position players it's a bit more difficult to work through situations. So we'll miss Hickey again for a few weeks, and Oscar Allen's been playing second ruck and then permanent forward and defender. So he's been thrown around for a guy who's played 4 games, 5 games, or he's probably 10 games now. So those things have been work in progress, but everyone's going through that. So yeah, I wouldn't just put it down to that.
You're 6-3, so you're still doing a fair bit right, and you're going for a good form on the trot now.
Yep.
So you take a bit of comfort in the fact that you're going okay, but you're still not probably playing where you know you're capable of getting to.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I've said this from the start. It's winning's hard. So we're in a good space in terms of win-loss. We've got an opportunity to go 7-3, which is fantastic for how tight the comp is. Big game this week with Adelaide, and they're almost full strength, and their brand's really standing up of late as well. They've changed slightly in the last 4 or 5 weeks. It's been very contested and hard-fought games, so that's something we're aware of, and on their home ground as well. So massive challenge this week. So we're really excited about getting over there.
Elliot, I think you said earlier in the week about it's a bit different now being the hunted team, like because you are the reigning premiers. Have you found?
Yeah, I suppose that's true. Whether teams get up or more for playing against us, I'm not quite sure if that's true, but I definitely think that there's a lot of time put into the way we play and our individuals, more so than last year. I'm not quite sure. I would have thought the coaches have the same prep, but perhaps there's a little bit more in it when you're playing the reigning premiers.
Are these 3 changes this week, or are some of the leading contenders coming?
Yeah, well, we've got Schofield's available this week. Jackson Nelson, Josh Rotham are available. So with Jets going out of the side, there's some avenues there. Hickey won't play, so we might have to throw Oscar back forward in the forward ruck role, or we have a look at Brooksby or Can Vardy ruck on his own for the whole day. So they're the opportunities in the middle. And Venables will miss a couple of weeks with his concussion. It was quite bad. So Waterman, Cameron's in the mix now. We really like the way he goes about it, and Archie. So there's some players coming through who've been dying to play that they might get a chance this week.
A couple of weeks for concussions, obviously massive.
I wouldn't say massive, but I think there's he's still not in a great space at the moment. So we'll be very patient with Venice and just make sure it's completely in the clear. So yeah, he won't play this week and possibly next week.
Migraines and vomiting and stuff like that? Or just...
No. There's all the protocols we go through, but before you go into any of those, you need to be sort of headache free and in a reasonably good space. So we haven't bothered doing any of that type of testing. So he's still settling.
The Keegan Brooksby, can you just tell us a bit about him, and is he close? Are you thinking about the 2 ruckmen and his link? He's got the link to South Australia. Does that ever come into consideration?
I haven't thought about the link to South Australia, but he's been great for us this year, really, for a mature age player. Nothing to lose. It's what we need at Waffle level. We're very, very young, and his leadership down there has been first class. He's had some really, really good games for us. So his ability to play like a man has been great for us, and definitely in the mix this week.
I'm sure you've been working on it, Simo, all year, but how do you get more supply? Does it come down as a ball movement, as clearances?
It's a good question. I mean, we had 17 inside 50s in the last quarter, so I don't think we can say it's personnel. it's difficult for us at the moment to get that consistent supply to our forwards. I think in the third quarter we had 7 or 8 inside 50s, or maybe 9. But the fact is we'd like to get a bit more supply to our forwards, and we're working through that. That's probably the biggest thing. And I think we're not on track, but we're back in the mix with the contest. I think our guys have been pretty tough the last few weeks. They've stuck their head over the ball, and our mids have done their fair share of work, despite the fact the numbers might not look great. When you watch the game, I think we're up for the fight, and that was probably what was lacking 3 or 4 weeks ago. So that's getting better. So now it's trying to get it to go another step forward and give us some supply.
You view Hutchings the last couple of weeks, he hasn't been tagging.
Yeah.
Probably not getting as much of the footy as he was last year either, but are you happy with the sort of collective with the midfield there, or are you sending him back to tag this week?
Yeah, well, we keep looking at it as a bit of a what-if for us the last couple of weeks. So he's been playing out in the wing a little bit. Difficult role with that wide winger. You do a lot of running with not much reward, and that's what Masto's been doing really well for the last 3 or 4 years. Masto's unavailable at the moment with a hamstring. But that's a selfless role. You really have to be in the ground to watch those guys run. Every club has a couple of players who do that. So Hutch has been in that role on occasions in the last couple of weeks. So yeah, we've still got him there to run with players if we need to. So he's playing his role.
Tagging is such a weird thing. There's some weeks where it's so in fashion and then it just drops off completely. Just as a coach, how do you evaluate it week to week, what to do?
If he's a good player that needs to be tagged, we do it. Look, we predominantly we've done that in the last probably 30, 40 games. We've had someone to go to. I don't think we did against St Kilda or on the weekend, but it's definitely there's a balance between backing in the guys that you got inside to get it done and also taking out one of the very important players for the opposition. I just thought Melbourne had probably a pretty good balance, and we were going to just wait and see if someone got off the chain, and we thought for the most part we held our own, so we didn't need to do it. So, but that might be completely different this week. Adelaide got a couple of good players as well in the midfield.
Your record at Adelaide Oval, 7 out of the last 9 there. What
Was
do you
it?
put that down to?
Bit of luck, bit of I suppose the ground, but Subiaco being similar. Maybe it's half an hour less plane flight. I don't know. We've had some pretty good experiences there in the last couple of years, but that means nothing this week.
So it doesn't give you confidence when you go back to a venue where you've had good success? Do the players at least feel that?
We're pretty confident every week when we play.
Simo, how do you get a gauge on how the side's going in the contest? There's obviously so many statistics, but is there something that you look for? Is there something, does it change by week with the team that you face?
I won't bore you with the details because you'll get bored. I get bored talking about the contest and what's important and ground balls and ruck hard ball gets and free kicks of contested possession. There's so many things. So we've got our own way of doing things, and sometimes our games don't look the same as others. Sometimes teams don't want a contest either, and it's a pretty open game, and sometimes it's a scrap. So we've got our way of doing things. Every club is different. We've got our way. We're not at the top of the table when you look at the contested ball, but there's some things there that we value, which probably other clubs don't.
Well, if you make Adelaide, they've won I think 4 of their last 5, and last week it was only a 1-point loss. They've changed their season right round.
They have. They've slightly changed the way they've played as well. They're up for the fight. Yeah, that's for sure. And they're very workmanlike with the way they work across the ground as well. So the back line's standing up really well, really dangerous rebounding halfbacks. The midfield is as good as any, and their front half's always been damaging. So, and they're really healthy, their list as well. And I think without Jacobs, there's not too many other injuries. I'm sure there might be 1 or 2 more, but they've been in pretty good touch.
You said they've changed the way they play. What stood out for you that's changed from their sluggish start?
I think probably the contest side of things and the ability to tighten the game up. That's probably been the biggest thing without going into too much detail again. But the last 3 or 4 weeks we've noticed a distinct appetite for the contest.
The weekly Nick Nat updates.
Oh, yeah, Nick.
Is there any chance?
Sorry about Nick.
Is there any chance before the bye he could come back and play a waffle?
No.
Okay.
No, he won't play before the bye. I think it's only 2 or 3 weeks away now. So it hasn't even been 11 months yet, I don't think. So we're really happy with the way he's going, and the fact he's knocking on the door is great. That's probably the last tick off from us for him. Now it's just getting that extra couple of weeks of training up and when he's available, the decision whether he plays waffle or seniors, that's something we need to work through. But that'll probably be after the bye. Well, it will be.
Does he want to play now, right now? Are you getting the feeling that he's...
Then it's not really his decision. Doesn't matter what he wants. The fact that he's putting his hand up to say I could, then that's great. But you've got to back the docs in.
Is the ruck structure you'll have when he comes back? Obviously, he's not going to play full games. Is that impacting upon how you want to select each week now? So you've got a ruck structure of 2 ruckmen or 1 ruckman compared to what it'll be then, so you can at least settle something down.
No, everything we're doing at the moment is for Adelaide. So as much as we're trying to get good system and good role-driven performances, we need to win. So Nick will provide a different avenue to our ruck division, but I'm not worried about that yet. Yeah, we've got to get a win this week, and then hopefully that continues for the next few weeks. So we've got, I think, 3 games before the bye. So it'd be great to get some continuity and system with what we've got at the moment.
Nathan Vardy, is he guaranteed to play this week, even with Hickey out?
Yeah, we're back in Vards. Yeah, he'll ruck for us. He did a pretty good job the week before. Had a tough day at the office in the ruck with Hickey on the weekend, but I think we conceded God knows how many hit outs and but first possession and clearances, I don't think we got annihilated. So he was part of that mix.
He showed last year that he can be better than what he is playing now. What's the key to helping him to rediscover that form?
Vards, look, the way we ruck, I suppose, it's a real role driven. So there's some things there that if we said go try and get as much of the ball as you can and try and play like a midfielder, he probably could get a bit more of the ball. I don't think he's playing at his best at the moment. I think he's the first to admit that. He's probably just missing out on a couple of opportunities to take a few contested marks, whereas he's probably good for 1 or 2 a game and a couple of shots. We just haven't seen that this year, but he's been rucking a lot more this year than he has last. So that's a different role, and it's his first year really as a starting ruckman. So I've got a little bit of patience, but having said that nothing's locked in for him either. So it's just been a bit disjointed the last month with Hickey being unavailable.